Hello, everyone. I believe we are live. Welcome back to this week's segment of Love Talks. I am your host, Ina Love, and as always, I'm delighted to have you. If you are new to Love Talks, welcome. If you are returning, thank you. Today, we will be continuing our series called "'Tis the Season." And we will be taking a look at the season of letting go. This segment today is all about freeing your mind and letting go of everything that does not serve your highest and greatest good. I always like to begin with just a little bit of a recap. I mentioned the different segments that we've covered in this series. We did "'Tis the Season of Joy," "'Tis the Season to Believe," "'Tis the Season of Love," and again today, the season of letting go. If you are new to Love Talks, you can find all of the Love Talk segments either here on my Facebook page, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Ina Love Poetry, or my website, somethingaboutlove.foundation.org. And as you're watching the series, or any of the series, if you happen to feel the information would be helpful for someone feel free to tag them so they can either watch live or perhaps watch later. And I would appreciate that, because I'm obviously doing this because I'm just trying to help all of us to get through these days. So we're going to dive into this segment, and I'm going to begin today with a quote. And well, I say it's a quote because I'm not sure if I've heard this somewhere or if I made it up. However, I absolutely believe this to be true. And that is, true freedom is of the mind. And the reason I say that is because so many of us are held captive or burdened to our own mind, to our own thoughts. And typically, we are either reliving thoughts of our past, like past experiences and things that we have been through, or we are, playing some story in our minds that we actually convince ourselves of. We typically, get ourselves all worked up, and there's a lot of fear. We believe these things that we tell ourselves. So again, it's either something in the past that has happened that we haven't healed and released, or, we are burdening ourselves with some idea of something that might happen, which in reality may not ever happen. So this segment today is going to be all about freeing our mind. And if you guys would just bear with me for just a few moments, I need to do something really quickly. It's going to take me 10 seconds. Just bear with me one moment. Okay, sorry about that. I actually use a little space heater for the kittens, and the noise was wearing my nerves out. So sorry, I had to turn that off. Okay, and okay, so we're talking about, again, in this segment, freeing the mind and all of the things, that we do, either reliving the past, something that we've been through, or again, these ideas that we make up in our minds. We tell ourselves these stories. We get ourselves so worked up, again, about things that may never happen. So we really want to be conscious of our thoughts. And I just want to say that I've made a lot of notes for this segment today because there's a lot that I want to share. So I'll be going back and forth with my notes, but I just want to be sure that, that I cover everything, because I really put a lot of time and effort into this segment today. Well, all of them, honestly, but today I truly gave this some deep thought. So, as I said, oftentimes we suffer because of the thoughts, that we have in our mind. So again, this segment is all about freeing the mind. And typically, what happens when we get ourselves all worked up with these thoughts, we find that we're, really stressed out. And of course, stress often leads to illness. I think the majority of illness that we have in the body comes from stress. Stress is very, very harmful to the body. Um, it can also lead to depression, to sadness, and in extreme cases, where we really tormenting our minds, it can lead to suicide. Um, I mentioned in a previous segment that I've had the opportunity to be present for at four different times that someone called upon me who was in the contemplating suicide. And I realized that in each of these situations, it's a feeling of hopelessness where, you just can't seem, you don't seem to see a way out or feel that there's a way out of your, of whatever the experience is. But again, it's the story that we're playing in our minds, that we just work up so intensely, that can push us to that limit. But I did find in all of these circumstances that, what each of those individuals needed was someone to just be present, to feel that someone cared, that someone was there, and that they were heard. So, it's so powerful to be present, to show up for someone when they're going through, a very difficult experience. So, step one in freeing your mind is first to identify what is it that is truly troubling you. You really have to get to the heart of what that is and be, very clear. And as I said, get to the root of it, because the goal is to heal that, to make peace with it, or to release it. So first, you have to identify exactly what is it that's burdening you. Sometimes we know that very clearly, but other times, it may not be, as obvious, or you may think it's one thing and it's truly, something deeper. So you really have to get to the root, to the heart of what is truly troubling you. And then the next step would be, to determine what is it that needs to be done to heal that, to forgive it, to let it go, to make peace with it, to resolve it, and truly it depends, obviously it depends on, what the circumstance is. For instance, if you're truly troubled about, perhaps it's a financial situation, there are many things that can be done, but, you have to take action. If it's a relational problem, we talked about this in other segments where you have to actually, communicate with your loved one and be completely open and honest in communicating your true feelings and what you're going through. So communication is absolutely key in that instance. It could also be, we burden ourselves. It could be again an emotional issue, particularly if you're dealing with, perhaps a traumatic experience or something that you've been through in your past. So again, the key is identifying, truly getting to the heart of what is the problem. And, also people really torment themselves because, they're unhappy with their physical appearance. And obviously, that if it's that type of a situation, we have to be willing to do, whatever it takes to make the changes that we want to see within ourselves. Truly a lot of healing work, it's all an inside job. We have to do it ourselves. We can certainly seek professional help, and which I'm certainly an advocate of therapy and things of that nature, because truly what therapy provides is a safe place to really communicate your feelings. And that's the key in finding a good therapist, someone who can just really be present, to hold that space for you, to really listen and understand, because ultimately, you have to come to that resolution in your own time and in your own way. but many of us find it hard to truly open up to someone. So therapy can be a very significant tool in resolving whatever it is that's burdening you. But again, a lot of our true troubles in life, it's all the mental thoughts that are running. If therapy is not an option, hopefully you have a friend or someone that you can confide in, because it's so healing. Just again, to get all of that out. So often we hold things in and we deal with them internally, but it is very healing, just to get them out. If talking with a friend or therapy is not an option, you can write them down. You would be surprised how therapeutic and healing it is, just to write about your problems. But, or, again, often it's our perceived problems. Because it's really just a matter of getting them out. We hold all of these things in, and it just it builds and it grows, and the problems seem to become more intense. But the key is really just to get it out, to make peace with it, and ultimately to let it go. So one of the big things that is tormenting a lot of people right now, particularly with everything that's going on in our world, is fear. Fear is a really big thing. They're just everywhere you look, everywhere you read, everything you watch. There's just, it's like we're being inundated with, just truly there is a lot of negative things that are happening in the world. But the key to overcoming fear is really to develop that solid relationship with God. Um, and I'm saying this because this is what I have found to be true for myself. That in my close relationship with God, truly, I'm not saying that I don't have any fear, but I'm truly not afraid about anything that's happening in the world today. I'm very much at peace. I feel very deeply in my heart that, God's hand is in everything that's happening. And, of late, although there's been a lot of, unsavory things that are happening, I've also seen a lot of good things that are happening. So I do feel that things in this world are moving in a positive direction. It's all just a matter of time, but really work on developing that relationship with God. You've heard me say so many times, and I probably say this in every Love Talk segment, really get to know God, develop that relationship like a friendship, like a bond, where you just come to an absolute place of peace in knowing that God is with you, that God is for you, and that you can and you will get through anything. We all will. We will get through this. Everything has a season, and this too shall pass. So again, just stay very close to God. That's what I always say, stay close to God. Um, suffering truly comes when we stray from God. So if you find that, you're really going through something and you don't know what it is, just really pray about it. Again, stay close to God. That's going to be, truly your God is your greatest ally, your our greatest source in any storm, in any situation. So, just really work on developing that relationship each and every day. So lately, a dear friend of mine recently sent a book to me, and I think she sent it for Christmas or New Year's. I don't know. I've had it just a week or so, but it's a very short book that takes about an hour to read, and it's titled "The Mental Equivalent." And I've actually read this book about 5 times now, and I want to mention it because it has been such a powerful reminder for me. And I, just want to offer this to you if you're interested. But the book is titled The Mental Equivalent, and it's by Emmett Fox. The book is actually like a translation of one of his lectures, but it's a very powerful message, and something that I know personally to be true, or that I believe to be true. But the book has been a really good reminder for me. And basically, in the book, he's saying that, true freedom, as I said, is of the mind, but it's all about letting go of, our negative thoughts, our negative beliefs, and all the things that we tell ourselves that are working against us. Like, we really have to learn to guard our thoughts. And what I really love about this book is that he says, not only does he say guard your thoughts and be very cautious and aware of, all the negative thoughts that we have, but it's a very strong reminder that whenever you find yourself having negative thoughts, you need to reinforce those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. He says for every negative thought you have, you need to counteract or counterbalance that with two positive thoughts. And this is the part that I really loved. Although I have heard this many times, but I really enjoyed the way that he phrased it. He said, not only do we need to, shift our way of thinking to, a positive way of thinking, he says that we need to add interest to our thoughts. And I love that terminology, but basically what it means is that when you're having positive thoughts, you need to put the feeling, the feeling is what amplifies the things that we're thinking, because often, think about it, if you're sharing a story with someone of something that's going on in your life, like, maybe, some unfortunate event, like perhaps, if you lost your job, that obviously can bring about a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. And, we might put a lot of feeling and emotion into telling that story. Well, he says that, when we are talking about the things that we want in our lives, when we're talking about, in our prayers or our meditations, or even in our thinking, we need to put just as much feeling and emotion into the positive things that we're wanting in our lives. So, like I said, it really is a really good reminder, because we tend to lean so heavily and strongly on the things that are wrong in our lives. And we really need to shift all of that to staying positive, being optimistic, and again, putting that feeling or that interest into our thinking. So I just thought that was really something really powerful to share. If you're interested, again, the book is called The Mental Equivalent by Emmett Fox. Let's see. So, as I said, just you want to really be aware and guard your thoughts at all times. That really is the key to setting the mind free, is, to be aware. What are you thinking about? You want to, rather than focused and, spending a lot of time worrying about things that are going on, or, things that we are afraid might happen, you really want to focus your energy and your attention on the things that you want to happen. So again, guarding your thoughts is very, very powerful and important. This is all about freeing and clearing the mind. So you want to be aware at all times, what are you thinking? If it's, something negative, you have to shift your thoughts, move that energy, and tell yourself something positive. And, as I said, remember to put the feeling into your thoughts. That is, he says, that is truly the power in positive thinking, is, to feel it as if it has already happened. Whatever it is that you truly want to happen, when you think about it and feel what it would be like for it, as if that were actually happening. Let's see. And, in previous segments, we have talked about, ways of moving negative energy when we find ourselves getting stuck, in our negative thoughts, or, in situations that we're going through, because it's just so powerful and important. to stay positive, to be optimistic. So we talked about ways of moving that energy, things like reading, singing, listening to music. There's so many things we can do to just, exercise, or, so many ways that we want to just be aware and move that energy. You don't ever want to just sit in those negative thoughts, because what we focus on grows. So if you're spending all of your time worrying, you're giving that a lot of energy. When you find yourself doing that, again, redirect your thoughts, think about the outcome that you're wanting, and again, put that feeling in it. Um, and also, please be aware, that we really need to, start trying to break some of the habits that we have created for ourselves. Oftentimes, and I think, this is true for all, I'm sure most of us, that we've done this at one time or other. And, obviously some do it more than others, but we have a tendency to want to feed our problems. They call it comfort food. Whenever we're going through something, if we're stressed or worried or fearful, we'll often eat as a way of, sort of comforting ourselves. But that could actually compound some of the actual problems that you're faced with, particularly if one of your issues is, that you're not happy with your appearance. So be aware if that is what you're doing, and find other ways, more constructive and positive ways to help yourself to move that energy. Also, obviously, some people try and drown their problems with alcohol. And we all know that, these things, again, just compound the problem. And, these are temporary fixes. Once you sober up, believe me, the issues are still there. So none of these things resolve anything. Obviously, will lead to more problems. So just be aware if that's something you're doing, and there are many things that we do, gambling and um, drugs and alcohol, and some people overwork themselves, but all of these things are just a way of avoiding our true problems. And, ultimately at some point we have to stop and face these things. That is the only way to truly heal them, and again, ultimately release them and set yourself free. So, it's just a matter of being aware of the habits and the things that we're doing. Now that we have all of this, I think for most of us, we have additional time. This really is the time for us to just get still and really focus on what's happening, internally, work on healing these things, so that, when we ultimately get our lives back, when the world truly opens up again, that we can step forward with a whole new mindset, with a whole new way of being. So, take the time and really do the inner work. It's really important to do that. Something else that I wanted to offer, that I have found useful in times, in my life, because, we're all human. Believe me, we all go through things in life. We've all experienced worry and fear and all of these things. But the serenity prayer, I think, is a beautiful, powerful prayer and a great reminder. And it simply says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Sometimes there are things that burden us in our lives that, perhaps, it may seem that it's not possible to change it for whatever reason. If it's a physical condition, or maybe if it's a relationship that you're in, but you don't see a way out of it. Grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, because ultimately, you want to make peace within yourself. So the courage to accept the things I cannot change, or the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can. And again, that's very powerful, because for many of us, I think, we are aware of things in our lives that we're not happy with or would like to change. but perhaps we're afraid to do that. So the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. So the serenity prayer within itself can bring comfort and also, perhaps help you to just realize, like, where are you within a situation? Are you stuck? Are you afraid? Just exactly what is going on with that, with it within that experience. And, perhaps will help you to find the courage or the strength to do whatever it is that you need to do. So, Um, there's some, as I said, we've all been through things in life. And there have been times in my life when I have gone through things and, I knew that there was something that I had to do that wasn't so easy to do or so pleasant. Sometimes there are things we have to do that we don't really want to do, but we have to. And, so I used to tell myself that I can do anything for myself. And, if you really think about that, like that is a really beautiful and powerful statement, that you can do anything for yourself. And that means just being willing to do whatever it is you have to do to make your life better, to release your burdens, to set yourself free. We have to be willing to fight for ourselves and do whatever whatever it is that we need to do. So I can do anything for myself. Like, again, these are little affirmations that we can say to ourselves to encourage and give ourselves the confidence that we need to sometimes do the things that we really need to do. And obviously in every situation it's going to be different, and only what those things are. But you really have to talk to yourself to boost your confidence, boost your whatever it is that you need to do. Tell yourself that you can, and ultimately you will when you're ready. So, as I said, some decisions are very tough. Some of the things that we have to do in life, and when we actually make these decisions, like, there may be challenges that come afterwards. But in the long run, when things are all said and done, you're going to be so much better for having done those things because, we can spend a lifetime unhappy. We can spend a lifetime stuck in a situation. But until you make up your mind and really do whatever it is that you have to do or ultimately want to do, nothing can change. So we have to be aware of these things. We have to be willing to do whatever we have to do to make our lives better, to make the situation better. Let's see. So basically, what I'm saying in all of this is that the mind is a very powerful thing, and it can either be, our best friend or our greatest enemy. So, again, be very conscious of the things that you're thinking about, whether you're stuck in fear or doubt or regret or, whatever it is. The key is to just be present and think about what the thoughts that you're having, and work on healing those things, either making peace with something that has happened in the past, or again, if you're troubling yourself with something that hasn't even happened, why do that to yourself? So really, really, let's guard our thoughts. We have to really, ultimately just learn to control our thoughts, because the mind is a very powerful thing, and it really will take control of you if you allow it. How many times have you know perhaps just laid awake at night and your mind is just racing, and there's so many thoughts and things that are going on, like to the point that you can't even rest. Your mind is just running, like your mind is just, they call that the monkey mind, when the mind, like your thoughts are just everywhere and there's so many things going through your mind. We have the ability to actually calm and settle our thoughts. And, sometimes you literally have to tell your mind to stop. Like just say, stop, stop all the thoughts. Tell yourself to stop. And you will be surprised. I mean, it may not happen the first time, particularly if this is something that has been happening with you for quite a while. But, take back control of your mind. Stop allowing your mind to just, run away with you, basically, is what's happening. So you'll find that to be very helpful. And as I said, for every negative thought that you have, you need to reinforce those. I mean, it may sound like a lot, particularly if your mind is always racing. Once you get the mind to settle, again, being aware of the thoughts that you're having, but once the mind starts to settle, when you find those negative thoughts coming through, you know, think about the ultimate outcome that you are wanting. Spend some time and attention focused on the outcome that you're ultimately wanting. I've heard people say things, like the things that we say to ourselves or even about ourselves. Like if you've ever been in a conversation with someone and they might say, "Gosh, I'm so stupid," or something to that effect. You know, we need to be aware of these things because, oftentimes we put ourselves down and you really don't want to do that. Like, we've all made bad decisions, we've all done things that we regret. But, to say things like that about yourself, which really isn't true, we're certainly not stupid. We might make bad decisions from time to time, but you want to, again, be aware of the things that you're saying and thinking about yourself. So, all of these things are just, little things that I just want to make us aware of. Because whatever we continue to tell ourselves, if you tell yourself something enough times, you really start to believe that. So, if you're going to be telling yourself something, tell yourself something good. Tell yourself something positive. Tell yourself that you can, because, whether you think you can or you can't, you're always right. If you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. And it's really that simple. So again, we're really just talking about taking control of the mind, being aware of the things that we're thinking about, and um, implementing positive changes. So we've all been hurt by someone at some point in our lives. We have all been hurt by someone. That's true. So don't do things to hurt yourself, and like I'm saying, all of these thoughts that we're thinking, we are mentally tormenting ourselves with our own thoughts. So again, awareness is the key here, and truly mentally tormenting yourself, that is not love. That is not self-love. So, just don't do that to yourself. You really want to guard your thoughts and tell yourself something good, tell yourself something positive, and tell yourself that you can and you will. So ultimately, freedom, true freedom, as I said in the beginning, is letting go of anything that does not serve you, whether it is, the negative thoughts that you're having. It could be, whatever fear that you're holding. In some cases, it may actually be, a, um, a relationship that is not, serving your highest and greatest good. So, setting yourself free may involve, getting out of an unhealthy relationship, whatever it is, those habits that we talked about, all of these things, we have to be willing to do whatever we have to do to set ourselves free, to live our best lives. And that is, that's truly the goal, because life really is meant to be happy. And, we have found so many ways to make ourselves miserable. It's so much of it is truly self-imposed, and awareness is the key. Again, I'm just going to keep saying that, awareness is the key to setting yourself free. So here we are in a new year. And, what we're talking about here is just, really reinventing yourself. Really becoming the person that you want to be and creating the life that you want to live. We need to start giving conscious thought to the decisions that we're making. I think a lot of times people really do things without fully thinking them through. So you want to really give some conscious thought to the decisions that you're making. Think about the possible outcomes of those decisions, particularly if you're doing something that you probably shouldn't be doing. You really need to think about the possible outcomes, not only for yourself but the people that are around you. And really work toward making the best choices and decisions for yourself and the people that are around you. That's what conscious living is all about. We really have to work to start doing better, truly, very simply stated. We have to do better. We need to start showing up as the best version of ourselves. And that's really, how we're going to start to see a change in the world. And I know that may seem like a big wheel to move, but as I've said before in other segments, it's an individual responsibility. None of us have control of the next person or any other person for that matter. We try, believe me, there are a lot of people who try to control others, but ultimately we only have control of ourselves, and it is our responsibility to do the best we can and, absolutely show up as the best version of ourselves each and every day. So, um, we, like I said, we want to start doing things in a better way. Start working on healing, forgiving, releasing things, letting go, setting yourself free. Make that a goal for yourself. Particularly if you're really tormented in your mind for whatever reason, make that as a goal for yourself to really free yourself, free your mind. So let's see. Well, this is something that I have personally been guilty of, and I'm certain some of you have as well. But, some of us are what I like to call people pleasers, where, we so often put someone else's happiness ahead of our own. And I'm not saying that that is necessarily a bad thing, but it can be because, obviously too much of anything is not a good thing. So if you are habitually putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own, well, obviously, and I'm sure you know this, that you end up being the one left out, the one feeling, unsatisfied or incomplete, or, all the feelings that come with that. So, we have to be what I like to call a little selfish. Not too much of anything is not a good thing. And obviously, some people are very selfish and they want everything their way. But it is okay to have things your way. We have to find a balance in things, particularly we have to find a balance in life, and especially within relationships. Everything can't go one way. One person can't always have it their way. So, really, start to have the things that you want in life, do the things that you want to do in life. And I know, perhaps a little bit of the things that I'm talking about today may seem a little tricky because of, we are obviously limited in the things that we can do at this time. But again, taking this time to prepare, to prepare yourself internally for, when we ultimately get our lives back. So, as I said, we have to, we obviously have to consider other people, but you certainly want to, live your best life, fulfill your dreams, and have the things that you want in life, and know that, it's perfectly okay to do that. And I mean, like, this may not be true for, everyone who's listening to this, but for those of you who are, always putting other people's needs ahead of your own, you may find that helpful. So, and ultimately, we really just have to follow our heart in life. I think, if we really get still and we think about it, like we ultimately know what it is that we want in our hearts. But, at the same time, we have to be realistic because sometimes, we are chasing after things that may not be the best thing for us, or, perhaps even chasing after something that may not ever happen. How many of us have, like chased after someone in a relationship that ultimately never happened. And, probably somewhere along the way, we knew that was not going to happen. So, we have to set realistic goals for ourselves and, just really be, again, all of this is really just about awareness. What are you doing? What are you thinking? What do you have your sights set on? So be aware of all of these things, but follow your heart and fulfill your dreams because that is so, so important toward having, a truly healthy, happy, and fulfilled life. Because I think a lot of people, live an entire lifetime and never actually, fulfill their dreams. So, we have to give that time and attention. That really does matter. So, basically what I'm saying is, let's make this new year about you too. Not everything about, everyone else. Focus on your dreams and your goals. So make it about you too. Your happiness, your well-being, and the things that, your peace of mind. That is huge. Peace of mind, there's nothing can compare to peace of mind. So whatever it is that's troubling you, really figure out what that is. If it's fear, get close to God. If it's a situation, do something to resolve it. Make peace with your past. But please, please stop tormenting yourself with things that haven't happened. Like that's something that we do a lot, and we really need to realize when we're doing that. So, you know, we um, we really waste a lot of time. I hate to say that, believe me, I'm guilty of it as well. We spend so much time just, thinking about things and contemplating things and, I'm gonna do this, but, we really have to stop wasting time because our life is now. Life is not, something that's going to happen 5 years or 10 years from now. We have to start, make goals and start working toward your goals now. Do what you can because there's always something that you can do. Even if it's just, writing out a plan, you have to do something, take action and, put your goals in motion. So again, all of this is just things to start thinking about. So, and, like I said, start to work in the direction of whatever it is that you're ultimately wanting to happen. So I think, we really have to make a decision that we want to be happy. Make a decision. Tell yourself every single day when you wake up, I choose to be happy because I think so many of us have told ourselves for so long that we're miserable. You know, again, whatever you tell yourself repeatedly, you're going to believe it. You tell yourself you're miserable enough times, believe me, you're going to be miserable. You're going to believe that you're miserable, and life is going to give you so many reasons to be miserable. So wake up every day and claim something good. Today is going to be a good day. I choose to be happy today. I choose to have a great day today. Take control of your life, take control of your thoughts, take control of your mind, and put that energy in motion because we really do have a say in what happens in our lives. And that actually brings me back to the book, The Mental Equivalent. He says that, for everything that happens in our lives, there is a mental equivalent, meaning whatever it is that we're focused on and thinking about, is what is playing out in our lives. So, what I'm really trying to impress upon you here today is that, your thoughts are very powerful. in determining the outcome of your situations, in determining what is happening in your life, currently and in the future. So we have to really, really be aware and take control. So let's see. So I want to say that in the midst of everything that's happening in this world today, and obviously there's a lot of things that are happening. We're dealing with, obviously coronavirus, what's happening in our government, all this racism has come to the surface. I mean, truly, it's like everywhere you turn, it's like, something else is happening. But I want to just say that in the midst of everything that's happening right now, if you are able to take control of your mind and take control of your life in the midst of this circumstance or these circumstances, you will be prepared for anything that life throws your way. If you can truly learn to overcome all of these things, that are happening, a lot of which, are out of our control for the most part, but we do absolutely have control of how we feel and, and how we move through this experience. So if you can find joy in the midst of all this, if you can release your fears, that overwhelming thing that just seems to be, running out of control, if you can really overcome all of those things, believe me, you will be so prepared for the rest of your life and for anything that comes your way. So really give these things some time, some effort, some attention, and start to work your way out of these things. Just say enough. I've had enough of being afraid. I've had enough of being sad or lonely or depressed or, whatever it is that you're going through, whatever you're going through, you have to make up your mind, truly. Healing all of that, changing all of that is within yourself, and you may need to seek help with it, but do something, particularly if you've been, dealing with these things for an amount of time, just, it's time to take back your life. And as I said, as we think, as you think, so it is. Again, if you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. And it really is that simple. So obviously tell yourself that you can. So, it's time to set ourselves free. It's time to release anything that does not serve us, whether it's fear, anything that's standing in the way of your joy and happiness, do something about it. If it's standing in the way of you having what you want or having peace of mind, do something about it. If it's standing in the way of you fulfilling your dreams or aligning with your purpose, do something about it. Take action, do something. There, even the littlest step is a step in the right direction. So, we're talking about taking control of our lives, and anything that is causing you stress, find a solution, find an answer. And, as I said, more often than not, we are stressed and worried about things that haven't even happened. So please just stop doing that to yourself. Stop it. Guard those thoughts. So, letting go is not always easy. And I'm saying that from personal experience. I have had to let go of things in my life that, I thought would kill me, like literally. There was a time when I just thought, my life was over. I've had to let go of things that, pushed me into a depression that, thank God was short lived, but I've been there, So what I'm sharing with you is things that I've actually been through, but I will tell you with absolute, no question, For every experience that I've been through in life, these things make you stronger. They build us. We grow through these painful experiences for whatever reason. I don't know why life is designed that way, but we all have to go through things in life, but they truly do make us better. Um, so, again, whatever it is that you have to do, tell yourself that you can and you will. And think positive. Think about the outcome you want. Put a lot of time and attention into the outcomes that you're wanting in whatever situation, in whatever circumstance. So, we really have to, we have to fight for ourselves, and believe me, when I went through that experience in my life that I thought was going to take me out, obviously it didn't. I'm still here. We're still here in the midst of everything that we've been through our entire lives. We're still here. We are such resilient people. I think, human beings are very complex and the mind is a very complex thing, but we are capable of anything, absolutely anything. And, really the key in the is just to believe in yourself. That is so, so very powerful and important. So, like I said, each time you let go of something, things get better. And believe me when I tell you, and you know this firsthand, if you've ever had to let go of something, when you let go, it's so powerful. Like you feel so light and so free. And, I always found myself thinking, like, gosh, I wish I had done that so much sooner, so it's so powerful to let go. But, no one can tell you when to let go or how to let go. Only you know that for yourself. And, sometimes we're able to find the strength and courage to do it, and sometimes we're not. But just as the serenity prayer says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. So if you are not able to make a change, make peace. Make peace within yourself. Because, that's really to be free of your burdens. That's a beautiful thing. It really is. There's nothing like peace of mind. Let's see what else. Um, and ultimately, you will know, like, believe me, I'm sure that, we've all had someone to tell us, oh, you're in a bad relationship. You need to get out of that relationship. Truly, no one can tell you what is right for you. You have to decide for yourself what is right and when is the right time to do it. But, if you're honest with yourself and if you're really willing to fight for yourself, and as I said, do whatever you have to do for yourself, you can and you will. So, it's really just all about believing in yourself. That's the key. And anything that you can't do, believe me when I tell you, God can be, and He will. Sometimes there are just situations and circumstances that we can't seem to find the answer, the solution, or the courage, the strength, or whatever it is. If you can't seem to work it out, give it to God. And that simply means, pray about it and release it. Release it, set yourself free. And when you release that prayer, you have to know that it's done. That's the interest that we keep talking about today. Put that feeling into it, release it, and know that it's done. Give it to God. God is, the universe, willing, so willing to take on all our burdens and challenges. And, as the saying, this too shall pass, it's so true that nothing lasts forever. So, whatever it is that you're struggling with or dealing with, if you can't find that solution, you have to set yourself free, give it to God, over and over and over again. If you have to release it to God, if you wake up tomorrow and it's burdening you again, you give it to God again and you keep giving it until you are free, until that solution comes, until the answer comes. And it will. Nothing lasts forever. So, really what you want to do is truly love yourself. We have to learn to love ourselves, stop hurting ourselves. So many of us believe that we are not loved, and we're so desperately wanting to be loved. And we need to realize that we truly are loved. We are never, not even for a moment, are we ever without love. Love is ever present. You have, hopefully, you have the love that you have for yourself, and believe me, there's someone in this world who loves you, even if it's not the person who you want to love you. And beyond all of that, the greatest love of all is the love of God. And you have to know, that you are loved. There is no greater love that any of us could have or receive than the love of God. So again, it's all about telling yourself something different, and keep telling yourself until you believe it. So today, I'm inviting you to release whatever it is that has been holding you back or holding you down, whatever it is that has held you burdened or captive, and it's probably, some thoughts, like I said, that, hasn't even happened, or, perhaps something of the past, but, really haven't you burdened yourself with that for long enough? It really is time to let go and truly be free. Like, just really set yourself free. So, you know, let go of any thoughts of lack, because, truly there is no such thing as lack. We live in an abundant universe, and God is our source and our supply. And there's always an answer. So let go of the idea of lack, and you will start to find abundance. So, again, this is about changing your thoughts, setting yourself free. Let go of your fears. Give that fear to God. If you are a true believer, stand in faith and take dominion over whatever it is that you are fearing. Because, with God, there is nothing to fear. So, take back your life. Stop being ruled by fear. Believe me, all of this information is going to continue to come, and who knows what's going to come, what information is coming forward in the coming weeks. But don't succumb to fear. Take your stand with God, and know that you are protected. Know that you are safe. Know that you are well. Like, you have to know that to your core, to the core of your being. Let go of any thoughts of sickness and illness. If we're so worried and fearful about coronavirus, I mean, obviously, we need to take precautions and be safe, but don't focus on that so much that you're just overwhelming yourself with these things. Just focus on, I am well. I'm a well-being. I'm safe. I am protected. Again, as I've said several times throughout this segment, it's about focusing on what you want. I am well. I am well. I think nothing else. I am well. Let go of, pain and suffering. How much suffering do we self-impose with our thoughts? We want to, claim the positive, the good, focus on the things we want. Let go of the ideas of hurt. Anyone that's hurt you, forgive them, forgive yourself, set yourself free. Truly, that is what this is all about, taking back your mind and setting yourself free. Tell yourself that you are enough, that you are good enough, and that you can. And take action, and you will. So, like I said, all these negative thoughts that we burdened ourselves with for so long, we just have to stop. We really just have to stop and be aware and change our way of thinking, our way of being. And, believe me, you will find that the more you do it, the easier it will come. And you will have so much peace in your life when you really take control of your thoughts. So, as I said, suffering comes when we stray from God. So if there's anything that is burdening you, get close to God. get close to the truth, because God is the answer, the solution, the cure all, the end all, the be all. Like, God is everything. So, God is the answer. Stay close to God and you're going to be okay. So, um, let's see. I think that's pretty much everything. We've covered pretty much everything. Like I said, just, really work on keeping your thoughts positive and, try your best. Just keep doing it until, you stay positive. You're going to slip back, obviously, but the key is just to stay on top of it, be aware, and, wake up every day manifesting a beautiful, positive day, even in the midst of everything that's going on. You have to inject some positivity into your life. Choose to be happy, choose peace, choose joy, choose love, choose abundance, choose all of the things that you're wanting, and let go of every thought that does not align with that. So I'm going to announce the winner of the book drawing last week. If you are new to Love Talks, each week I do a drawing. If you leave a like or a comment, I randomly do a drawing and I give away a copy of my book of poetry. So if you're interested in that, leave a like or a comment. And the winner of the drawing last week is Michael Pollard, who I actually went to high school with, or probably all the way through school, actually. So Michael, I'll be reaching out to you to get your mailing information for your copy of the book. So congratulations. And I do have a poem that I'm going to read today. I know that we've gone a little bit over an hour, but I said that I had a lot of information to share. But I do have a poem that I'm going to read or recite because I think it's very powerful for this segment. And it's a poem that I wrote about 5 years ago when I was going, really, I was just in a place in my life when I was really mentally and emotionally tormenting myself. And when I realized that I was doing all of these things to myself, I wrote this poem titled Confession. And I think I shared this poem like probably several segments back, but I thought it would be so powerful for today. So I'm going to share this really quickly and we'll close out our segment for today. And next week, we will continue with the series, or we'll actually complete the series on 'Tis the Season, although I'm not exactly sure yet where we're going next, but it always comes. So, I'll be sharing that once I know what the next segment is. But anyways, this is Confession. Dear Lord, I must confess for the wrong that I have done. I failed at loving me, forgot that we are one. Contemplating past mistakes as I write this soulful letter, I ask that you forgive me, for I just did not know better. Please don't hold against me, I so poorly played my part, allowed myself to hurt me, abused my sacred heart. Was it ever noble of me to share a battered heart? Such immature intentions failed right from the start. How could I love another with self-sabotage my muse? Dear Lord, I ask forgiveness. My heart was so confused. I believed the way to love was by putting others first. Indeed, what I was doing was making matters worse. I have not chosen selfishness. Pray this I never find. I learned that I could love me in parallel with humankind. I woke up born anew, renewed, restored, rebirth. The past shall be my penance as I honor my own worth. I thank my precious soul for being patient and so kind. Forgive the pain I caused as I tormented my own mind. The love I gave, I needed, unborn within myself. Can't breathe love to another. We first must love the self. Sweet soul, I did confess every painful thing I've done, the hurt and harm I've caused you. Now the healing has begun. My heart was so resistant, I battled to the end. Not even I could love me until I let love in. So that is our love talk for today. And I thank you all so much for being here. And, as I said before, if you watch any of the Love Talk segments and you think someone could benefit from this information, please, tag their name in the comments and, just, let people know that I'm here. Like I'm really sharing all of this, with a true intention to try and help us get through these days. And one last thing I wanted to mention really quickly. I know I've had a lot to share today, but as I said, each week I give away a hardback copy of my book, Something About Love, which is a book of poetry. But obviously my books are for sale, but I am gifting this book. So for every copy of the book that is purchased, and they are $19.99 in on our prints, but for every book copy that is purchased, I gift a book. I have hardback and paperback copies, but if you purchase a hardback copy, you get a paperback copy that you can gift to someone. So it's like a gift that keeps giving. And I actually am giving back all the proceeds of my book sales so that I can share this message because, God put this poetry on my heart. I never intended to write poetry or publish a book, but the poetry started coming. It was part of my healing journey. And I'm now, giving back. This is my way of, like expressing my gratitude for all that I've been given. So anyway, just wanted to share that. But again, I thank you all. And as always, I wish you a beautiful, wonderful, healthy, safe, and happy week ahead. And I will see you back next week on Love Talks. And we'll round out our segment on 'Tis the Season. And until then, you guys take care. Blessings.